Anyways, hello and welcome.
No, I will not let us start off with that energy.
Why not?
Oh gosh. Fine.
I just noticed that I was just stretching before.
This is going to be the opening, and everybody's going to be super confused because I'm going to cut out all of that beginning part. Needless to say, Aaron
the
said
bright side
something.
is I have a recording.
It's true. Needless to say, Aaron said something right as we were starting a recording, and started us off on a weird foot.
No, I don't think it was weird at all. Just a coincidence. Just stretching.
So let's. What is the opening? How do we normally do this?
Hello and welcome to Dungeoneered. Is that what we're doing? Is that
Yep.
normal intro? Oh, okay. Hello and welcome to Dungeoneered, a podcast dedicated to discussing Dungeons and Dragons. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Josh.
I feel like you're about to lose it. Let's do this. All right, let's get into lukewarm open before things get even worse.
Yeah.
So for this week, I over the last, I don't know, like 3 months or something, have been reading all the Harry Potter books because I've never read them before, and it's the first time in my entire life to ever even really open the books. Mm-hmm. And so this week for lukewarm open, I was thinking, we've been picking items and going through and seeing how we'd put them uniquely into our worlds, or just to make them fun in D&D. And so I thought, why don't we do a game of chess? Now, I don't want it to be lame, like, you can roll a d20 and you play chess. No, we're not doing that. Something unique that has to do with chess. And in Harry Potter, I think you probably know in Harry Potter,
yes.
Right?
Well, only because I saw the movies.
Yeah, where they only go, are you a movie Andy? Is that what you are?
What?
A movie Andy?
I don't know
if that. Only watch movies?
No, that is not who I am.
So then, do you like? Let's go through some
I mean, I think we have already talked about Lord of the Rings, at least, that I love the books more than the movies. And I think you're the opposite way.
Wow, that's a rough take.
Yeah, you're the opposite way, you weirdo.
What about, have you seen Aragon or read Aragon?
Oh, dude, I read all of those. I love those so much.
Have you seen the movie?
Yeah, it's not as good.
Okay, good. At least you're right on that take. That movie's trash.
I wish, they made the movie really good, and then we could get all of the books as movies, because those are so good. Those books.
Oh, they're amazing.
I loved those books as a child.
They're really good. It's probably mostly because I was like a kid when I read them, so they were like my childhood.
Yeah, exactly. It is my
they're still
childhood.
really good, but
yeah,
just like Ranger's Apprentice. I don't know if you've ever read Ranger's Apprentice. There's like a billion of them. And,
I read the three, the trilogy, not any more than that though.
Yeah, no, so good. I love them. I still love them, even though they're not the best, but I love them. I'll always forever love them. But anyways, in Harry Potter chess, they end up, it's like called wizard chess, and like the pieces move and fight each other, which is a super cool idea.
But I also
But then they ended up having to do like a...
Okay, so you are going there. Okay, you were going to say that. But yeah, so this is a spoiler.
Yeah, they ended up...
Where they became...
They play real-life chess. Let's just put it that way.
Well, so it's that type of chess where the pieces attack each other, but the players had to be in the position of some of those chess pieces, which is a great little puzzle. You have to win the chess game.
I'm not going to lie.
Or if you're going to lose, you have to fight that other piece. It's so good.
Yeah, no, that's a really fun idea. Even for D&D, honestly, you could probably just throw that in your game if you wanted to. I mean, I don't know.
Just got to come up with a stat block for a chess piece. I would literally have...
Now, the other idea...
There's a one of the cards of a deck of many things summons... I think it's called a Death Avatar. And
a Death Avatar?
Yeah, and so what it is it's a... some of its stats are reliant on the person that summoned it, so it's challenging against them.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, so I would do that for the chess stat block. So if it's a wizard, it's going to be going up against something that's more wizardly or whatever. But it kind of I'm trying to pull up the stats right now.
A Death Avatar. I don't think I've
Avatar
ever
of
heard
Death.
those, to be honest.
Avatar of Death. So it's Yeah, sorry, I'm looking up the details with the Avatar of Death. So if you pull the Skull card, you summon Avatar of Death, a ghostly humanoid skeleton clad in a tattered black robe and carrying a spectral scythe. It appears in a space of the GM's choice within 10 feet of you and attacks you, warning all others that you must win the battle alone. The Avatar fights you until you die or it drops to 0 hit points, whereupon it disappears. If anyone tries to help you, the helper summons its own Avatar of Death. And the Avatar of Death, its AC is 20, so it's hard. Its hit
Oh,
points
dang.
are half the maximum hit points of its summoner.
Okay, so not like that horrible.
No, it's not that horrible, but it's kind of, it changes some stuff up based on who summons it, and I like that idea, and so I'd play on that for the chess piece. So each one would be fighting
What do you
something.
mean? Wait, what do you mean? Yeah, what do you mean?
Well, I would literally make it like I mean, I would have to come up with very specific, like very nitty gritty rules for this. But like, if I had a wizard, I would come up with like an Avatar of Death first that would specifically challenge a wizard. That
Oh,
makes sense?
interesting. Interesting.
So it would be like they would be counterspelling, and they would be having to dispel these magical things, or like it would be challenging for them specifically, instead of like just having it something that slams them.
Yeah. You know what this reminded me of? And this is totally off topic ish. But in Yu-Gi-Oh,
Okay.
do you I don't know if you've ever watched any of the Yu-Gi-Oh animes. There's
Oh yeah. I've watched too many. When I was like, hey, I'm an adult, I shouldn't be watching this. But I'm like,
for some
I'm
reason
still
it
watching
reminds
this.
me of that where like there's one Yu-Gi-Oh where they're like riding bikes and they're trying to like race each other but play Yu-Gi-Oh at the same time.
Yu-Gi-Oh 5D. Yu-Gi-Oh 5D.
Yeah, like what is
Yu-Gi-Oh
that
5D.
even?
That's literally what I was literally just looking up because I was like, I think it's called Yu-Gi-Oh 5D. I want to look that up before I say it.
Yeah, it's like
yeah, it's Yu-Gi-Oh!
you're playing you're playing two games at once. It'd be kind of fun. Like you're trying to like it'd be interesting to do like you're playing chess but also doing a wizard battle at the same time. That'd be kind of fun too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I watched that. That was, I think, the era when I was like, I think I'm too old for this, but I'm still watching it. Was the Yu-Gi-Oh 5D when they're on motorcycles? I'm like,
I remember
like
it went
I've
from
outgrown
like
this
they're
now.
they're in like a shadow arena to like all of a sudden they're riding motorcycles. You know, like how did we get here?
Oh, but no, Yu-Gi-Oh 5D. Actually, the story was really interesting though. Like once it kind of started to progress, it was really interesting, and the companions that the person gathered were really interesting as well. And I mean, it might just be I was a child when I was watching. I was still young, and so
I
might
think
be
my favorite
rose-tinted
Yu-Gi-Oh
glasses.
is I think is Yu-Gi-Oh GX. Is that the one where they're in school and they have
I
like
think so. I think that was
red,
like the
yellow,
second
and blue
series.
uniforms and you like in a dorm and the main character gets put in a crappy like loser dorm and they're like the best duelists of all time. I love it.
Yeah, I think that's Yu-Gi-Oh GX. Yeah, I think it's the second one.
Okay, before we even move on though, I did have a little bit of an idea just randomly about chess. And it would be like a interesting it might be too hard. This might be too hard for players, but to do a puzzle where you have an empty chessboard in front of you and underneath it is like acid or like I don't know, something dangerous, fire or lava or whatever. And if you step on a place, the first place you step on is the piece you become, and you can move only in the direction that those chess pieces can move until you can get to the end, like the like a certain section of the board that you have to get to. I think that'd be kind of a fun little interesting puzzle, but that might be too difficult.
How do you restrict the player's movement? Like, what is the punishment of them moving not where their piece could go?
Yeah, so like if they were to like say they step on a bishop and they try to move like a rook, like they step one forward instead of diagonal, they would just fall through. Like they'd get like a dexterity saving throw, and if they failed it, they'd fall into the acid and they'd have to climb back up somewhere.
And would they get to start from where they climbed up, or would they become a new piece based on where they climbed up?
That's what I'd have to decide. I'd probably have it they'd have to climb back up to the same spot they were in, because otherwise it might be really confusing, even more confusing. But I think it'd be kind of a fun little puzzle. I don't know if I'd get it if I was a player either though.
Yeah, it does seem like it would be kind of it might be a little confusing at that point. But yeah, I see what you're. I like the idea.
But like, yeah, you'd step on the queen space and you can move how the queen moves and make your way across the board to try and get to like one of the end pieces or
Yeah,
whatever.
it'd be a
like
little
there's
hard
king on the other side or something.
to explain what is on the board without having a chess piece there. Like that was why it made sense
Yep.
for the in Harry Potter, because there was literally a chess
Harry
piece,
Potter,
but
yeah.
there was just a few slots that were open that didn't have any chess piece. That you're like, okay, I get what this is.
Yeah, no, totally. All right, well, that's what I had for Lukewarm Open.
Yeah. Well,
Another easy one. I'm gonna start setting up the difficulty here.
okay. I look forward to it. So this week, I wanted us to make a group, some sort of like multinational, maybe even a nation agnostic group. So I began creating a list of like different groups that I could remember that were like that. And I remember during my research, I came across a group in the Forgotten Realms called the Heralds of Fearun, and I thought I'd check them out and see if they fit this category. And when I went to Forgotten Realms,
Are we making a group that doesn't necessarily believe in gods or doesn't know about gods?
no, it
Is
has
that what we're
nothing to do
talking
with
about?
that. Agnostic does not always mean that. Agnostic means just not
Got it.
pertaining
No,
to
you're using the
a
other one.
group or yeah. So it's nation agnostic. So it's not specifically partnered or trade or any allies of one nation or another.
Cool.
Like
I just wanted to clarify, just to make
yeah,
sure.
like a way of thinking about it is like if you're thinking about Critical Role, it's like the Cobalt Soul, how it's in all these cities and stuff, and it like they're I guess Cobalt Soul's a little more built into the nation itself, but like
Yeah.
yeah, um,
Yeah, I have a library system in my game called the Emerald
Mm-hmm.
Reserve, and they are completely agnostic, and they are literally in every nation.
yeah, yeah. So the group that I remembered was the Heralds of Fearun, and I thought I'd check them out and see if they fit. And when I went to the Forgotten Realms wiki to research about them, I was surprised to see that they were actually the featured article that day. And I took that as a sign that I was like, okay, this is definitely the group that we should be talking about this week.
Yeah, it's a sign from the dice gods that this is what we must
We
do.
rolled an at 20 on the topic.
That's right, we did.
So the Heralds of Faerun, they also just go by the term heralds. They're a group that is disconnected from allegiances to any particular nation, instead serving all of them with the goal of keeping everyone following the rules of engagement, from the rules of coat of arms, flags, shields, mottos, symbols, and the like.
Okay, before we continue, can we just talk about, do you think the name Heralds is a cool name, like in terms of like a name for an organization?
The problem is I think of it as the name herald.
Me too.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't
Me too.
I
I
don't want
was
to be
thinking the
mean to
same
anybody
thing.
who has the name Herald.
No. It's just I can't not think
But yeah,
of the
I just
name
think of it
Herald
as
when
a
I'm
dude's name,
hearing,
and I'm like, I don't.
I just picture like a bunch of heralds, you know? Like
Oh, hi, I'm Harold. Oh, and that's
like
Harold. And
it's
that's
like a
Harold
herald
over
society.
there.
Hey
as well.
Harold.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But so this
Anyways.
eventually made them also the authorities on courtly manners, procedures, inheritances, genealogies, and general history. They went from a kind of regulatory group to a group of like lore masters and etiquette counselors. This group's nation agnostic operation and neutrality has led to its widespread acceptance from nations, kingdoms, city-states, mercenary groups, and the like.
All right, where's the kicker? There's got to be a kicker.
What do you mean a kicker?
There's got to
Like,
be
what's
something
the
bad.
dirty,
There's got to
dark
be
thing
something
in the basement?
Yeah, there's got to be something bad.
Well, maybe we'll get there. Now, as I was researching, the description they have of the heralds is so good that I'm just going to use it here from the Forgotten Realms wiki.
Do it.
The Heralds of Fearun were the catalogers and keepers of heraldic devices, lore, and etiquette. As an adjunct to this, they collected and collated very vast numbers of names, titles, genealogies, and historical claims, keeping detailed records for the preservation of history and arbitration of disputes. Based on the reputation of integrity, all heralds served as emissaries at whatever level was requested, as a member of diplomatic missions between kingdoms, liaisons between nobles within a realm, and information brokers between bards and sages. So they started out as just like this basic, hey, we need people to regulate this thing, and it just grew and grew and grew until everybody's like, yeah, I could use, they're useful, I could use them.
So I wonder, like, do nations like give them authority now in
No, so they
their
don't they don't they
areas,
don't
or
ever
like how
like that.
does?
They don't themselves have authority. The authority they have is the rules of the nation, area, or whatever that they're in. They're purely making sure everybody is following those rules. Like they don't even they're not the police. They're just the ones who are like, "Hey, your like symbol on that flag, you can't have that because there's a rule that you cannot have metallic colors on the top of your coat of arms."
Interesting. That's an interesting group to create, like a group that, like, I guess
Well,
they're like law.
here
They're like
I'm about to go in.
law people, I
Yeah,
guess.
kind of, but I'm going to go into kind of why they were created in a second. Um, so the Heralds were the creation of a harper called Aliost Oskrunner, who noticed a problem starting with newer groups and guilds. They had begun to make coats of arms that were not allowed under the rules of heraldry for the areas. Aliost also saw heated debate over who owned certain symbols, and when a side would call mediators, they would skew the argument towards the side that hired them. Lastly, due to unreadable heraldry, or at least similar heraldry, confusions arose in battles, and unintentional fratricides were occurring, where people would kill their relatives seeing a similar symbol thinking it was the enemy.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
awkward.
and so they're like, Alios is like, we gotta fix this. This is not okay. Like, anytime that's bringing about accidental death, I don't think that's good. Let's fix this. And so they created the group.
They're literally flag. They're flag experts. You can't have that flag. Can't have that one.
Kinda.
Can't have that one.
That flag will be a little confusing with this other flag, so I wouldn't have it because if you do, then you're probably going to kill people thinking that you're fighting these people. No,
For some reason, I feel like it's ridiculous.
I mean it is, but it also is one of those things that it's one of those things that is not fun to create, like a group like that, like some sort of regulatory group, but you're also like, I know in our world a group like this is 100% needed.
Could you could you imagine like a group of players making a mercenary company or something, and they get their heraldry and their coat of arms, and then some dudes come up and like, you can't
I'm
have
sorry,
that
dude.
flag,
Like,
dude. Like
no, like there's these rules, you gotta follow them. But no, like I'm sure in political intrigue games, these people would be very important. Like you would have one of these people as like a lore master in whatever court you have.
yeah, in our game I have them. They're called Law
Yeah.
Singers.
Now,
I mean, I guess yeah.
yeah. Now, Aliost, as I said, was a harper, and harpers are a big, important organization in the Forgotten Realms. So Aliost proposed to them a group that could fix all of these problems by codifying the current heraldic elements and enforce the laws around the coat of arms. Harpers agreed that this was a helpful and necessary group, so they talked with and convinced the many powerful nations, religions, and groups in the region to accept this new group as mediators. And so the Heralds of Fearun were founded. They started the organization by establishing 9 leaders called High Heralds. At the time,
Hi, Harold.
now I'm going to just say this
No.
now. I had saved this for the end, but I'll just say it right now. The highest High Herald has their own special title, and this person, like their whole purpose is they are, if in case of like High Heralds both saying no, this is how it should be, no, this is how it should be. Since they both have the same level of power, they needed something to mediate and be like, if there's no way to figure this out, you got to get this other higher person to be like, this is the side that we have to go with. And so any stalemates or issues, this person is there for. They also have the right to judge contest, ceremonial, ritual, or personal. But there's an important caveat for these contests. For some reason, they cannot judge contest if it pertains to contest involving horses or great cats.
Wait. What?
So they have the right to judge these contests, but not if it involves a horse or a great cat. Not an okay cat, a great cat.
That is,
Which probably
a
means like a
great cat.
saber-toothed tiger
That
or
is-
something like that. But I love that it just
yeah,
says
yeah,
a
like the
great
big
cat.
cats or something.
And this High Herald position, the name of the
I feel like
of this
wait,
position.
we gotta okay. You know what we gotta do? We gotta inform the listeners for a minute, okay? Because I'm not a good actor and you're not a good actor. I feel like we're in a
Wow, I think you fundamentally misunderstand my incredible acting skills. But sure, let's say I'm a
we
bad
had
actor.
to stop the recording because a dog at my work got stuck under a stump and I had to dig him out. So now we're here, and I already know what the name
now
is
we're
now.
back. You do, and the name is Unicorn.
Why though?
For no obvious reason. They're just like, I just wanted to be
It
Unicorn.
doesn't make
I guess.
any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. The High Herald position, the one that can judge contests and can kind of deal with stalemates,
See,
is called the Unicorn for no reason.
I would understand
And it's great.
if it was like they can't judge competitions with horses and rhinos, and then you combine the two and it's a unicorn, maybe that could make sense,
You are ridiculous. That is
but
okay.
big
Now
cats?
let's get more into the story of.
Oh, not in the almighty unicorn.
We got to go more into the history.
Okay. Okay.
So, they started the organization by establishing the 9 leaders called the High Heralds.
It's also been established since
And at the time,
1935, right? If I remember correctly.
What?
Never mind. Never mind.
What is the
There is no
reference there?
reference. I don't know what I'm doing. I've lost it. My brain is it is often
Clearly.
it is often la la land.
Well, let's hope we can get you back on the straight and narrow. But so as at the beginning, these 9 positions were filled mostly by harpers. But it was made clear to all involved, all the harpers that had changed their job to this, that they were to act as independent, true neutrals in any dealings that they had.
How is that even possible? Let's be honest.
Well, I mean, yeah, they definitely run into corruption. There's definitely corruption. It happens in
I'm
any
still
group.
waiting.
Any group that has any sort of power.
Yeah, I'm still
you're still
waiting for
waiting.
the
You
secret
are.
squirrel, the bad secret squirrel. I'm ready.
Now these positions were successful and stabilized different political struggles and intercourt issues. They decided to travel with their Harper allies, and as they traveled through towns and cities, they began to raise up others to be local heralds. But they also hired agents to find and inform the heralds of genealogies, histories, and other important records, slowly growing the heralds' overall knowledge.
And there's no chance that this can become corrupt at all. No way.
No, none at all. Now, during this time and continuing on, the importance of heralds as a group of integrity and neutrality could not be overstated. The importance of it. So they dealt harshly with a few members early on to really drill this home to all of the members that you cannot destroy our reputation. Like, that is what we have as our group.
Do they have like
and if we don't have that anymore,
do they have a specific punishment if you fail, if you aren't
death.
They kill you?
Or excommunicate. They kill you or excommunicate you, and they also dissolve your position.
Nice. I mean, I was hoping they'd do like some sort of brainwash or something.
Well, no. So like what they do, but like the reason for like dissolving positions would be so somebody doesn't say, "Oh, this person's being corrupt," lie about it. They take them out, and then that person takes over and is just as corrupt.
Man, I thought they were gonna.
That position is now gone, so you're not gaining anything by losing this person.
Man, I thought they were gonna like cut out your brain, put it in a vat, and study it for further research and experimentation on why you betrayed our order. That's what I thought was going to happen.
Nope.
And then they just have a secret warehouse of brains.
This early corruption was in 2 of the High Herald. So this led to those positions being dissolved. So now there's only 7 High Herald positions.
So,
sadly, as is inevitable.
Does it like never come back?
And in any position of power.
Does it?
No, they completely throw the job away. They don't, it's gone.
Weird.
Never coming back. that job is gone.
That's so strange.
I mean, it makes sense for like people trying to like get in that position. You're like, no, all you're gonna do is lose that position for everyone.
Whoa, weird. And so, okay, you might have already said this, but if they like die of old age, that position still remains, right? They just put a new person in it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's only if it's corrupt, and so it's like they have to be as harsh as they can on corruption, so it doesn't happen because that is the only thing they have going for them.
Yeah, it's tainted now, so they have
Like,
to cut it off.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh.
They have to be as harsh as they can to prove to people we are serious about integrity.
That's truly fascinating.
And being a true neutral
That's
group.
very different than anything you ever see.
But sadly, as is inevitable in any position of power, as time went on, more and more corruption happened amongst all of the levels.
They're eventually just going to.
It has destroyed.
Die.
It has destroyed 2 more High Herald positions. So now there's only 5. It destroyed 5 of the position directly below High Heralds, which is called like Herald Pursuivant.
The not as high heralds.
And the positions below that, and many local herald positions. Now the heralds ran into one other big problem. Since they used the connection of the Harpers as a boost for the heralds to get them off the ground when the Harpers began making waves. Now let me clarify this before we get into this. The Harpers aren't a bad group. And so when I say the heralds were making waves, I'm not meaning they were being bad. They weren't. So the moves they made weren't directly negative, but the Harpers had a particular idea of what's best for the world, and they began to work both overtly and covertly for those goals. And those goals are not neutrality. So they were like, had these meetings among the heralds of what do we do? Yeah. Do we distance ourselves from this? Do we help them? Like, what is our position? They helped us so much in the beginning. Politically, we are linked to them.
See, this is why you just go over to the dark side, because it's easier, you know? And you have cookies.
Now, after a lot of deliberation, and even famous adventurers from the Forgotten Realms, like Elminster, tried to convince them that the Heralds should stick with the Harpers. The Heralds decided the best thing to do would be split from the Harpers. And they worked out a friendly separation. And the Harpers still do missions for the Heralds and can gain like rest and solace inside their fortresses, but they are no longer outwardly business partners.
Huh. So now the group has to be tiny.
Yeah. No. After all of that, the Heralds thrived, and they've spread across all of Faerun as this truly neutral group.
Wow.
Doing this necessary position. And that is all I have on them.
Man, I thought for sure they would, like, I don't know, like, get so corrupted that they don't have any more positions left because they have to just cut everything off.
No. I mean, they have 5 high heralds. That's
and then a bunch of not so high heralds.
They did get knocked down a lot.
Huh? Yeah, interesting. And then a lot of sober heralds. Yeah, so it did get
knocked down, but it's not.
And a lot of sober heralds too.
You pretty much said that joke twice.
I did, and I'm gonna repeat it again.
It wasn't good the first time. Yeah, it's like Jonah's joke yesterday about hide armor.
Oh my!
Helping him with stealth.
That was truly not terrible.
Yeah, it was truly terrible.
I've never made a pun that bad, to be honest.
You just did twice. Well, now my idea for this week is that we create a group that is some sort of neutral group like this that operates between nations.
All right. I like this. This okay. So I guess there's not a lot of options, unique options, I guess. You have like law upholders. You have like a wizard academy would probably work. Like a wizard, like wizarding schools and stuff, which we've already kind of done quite a bit. You could do like a fighters guild type thing, like an Oblivion's fighters guild. You do something like that.
Yeah.
Like monster hunter guilds.
The companions.
Yeah, tell me if anything sounds interesting.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
You're thinking what?
I'm okay. I'm thinking monster hunters.
Monster hunters?
Yeah.
And like they're true.
Like they don't have to be like creepy monster hunters. They can't be like they're not going to be like copies of Witchers, but
Just boys with big axes and bows going around killing big monsters that are causing problems with nations.
yeah, and I think every nation has at some point had problems with dragons,
Now the question is,
giants, ogres, oni, like all of these basic monsters.
the question
And
is,
so just a group that formed.
how do we
Yeah.
make it interesting without it just being, your classic Slayer's take? Like, not that Slayer's take isn't interesting, and not that a basic Monster Hunters guild isn't interesting, but like, what, they just run around and kill dragons and mad buffalo or whatever? I don't know where that came from.
Well, I don't know. So I was thinking that they are. I think that they outwardly appear boring. I think that is a feature of them, is that they appear as just this basic monster hunting guild, and that the players can actually take missions to be basic monster hunters, and it's just as classic monster hunting as they would think. But later on in the game, they will find out that the kind of dream
Okay.
world thing that we created kind of on the plateau is like leaking monsters. And so they have a special side, like a special group that is made to take on those, and they'll like be hugely like helpful to the party as they're trying to figure out how to get through.
Okay. I thought of a little bit of a different route, but this might be too close to Skyrim. I was thinking it turns out that all the upper echelon people are vampires, and instead of eating human blood, they've found a way to take and extract the blood of monsters and consume that instead. And so now they're trying to war with other vampires.
I would prefer it to
to
I would prefer it to be more of a not that they have like figured out a way, more like monsters, like especially magical monsters, are just tastier.
Well, yeah, or something about their blood is nutritious
it's like,
to them or whatever. And I was thinking that now they're like,
I think it's like a gourmet thing, and so I think they also would be like sellers to other vampires and other things, so they become like a gourmet restaurant pretty much for these vampires.
I like this. I do like this. I do like a Monster Hunter / gourmet kitchen guild, which I think is amazing, and we're definitely doing that. There's definitely a gourmet kitchen / restaurant that this Monster Hunter guild does, and it doesn't have to be silly. But what I was thinking is like this bloodline of Monster Hunters or of vampires is the only one that can drink like the blood of monsters or magical beasts or whatever, and they are warring with other factions of vampires for supremacy. Like they're trying to eliminate the ones that feed on humans because they think it's like immoral or something. And so they're true.
Okay, I kind of want it to be a little bit more than that. I want there to be an option. I want there to be some sort of ritual that they can do.
I'm not saying it's necessary.
That can allow other vampires to eat monsters as well, to drink the blood of monsters. Because I want it to be like, oh, these people we've given them the option and they've refused.
Okay.
And so kind of hidden in the back of this monster hunting guild is also a vampire hunting section.
Well, that's right. That's where I was. That's what I was thinking. Like and like they take the cream of the crop to go fight master vampires and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I think the first thing they do is offer them this thing, like join us, do whatever this ritual is.
But here's the question: is that too Skyrim?
Which it might be.
Is that too companion with Dawnguard as well? Like mix? Is that too Skyrim? Is that too cliche?
I mean, kind of.
Because that's like, that's literally like Skyrim has the companions, which are werewolves, and then you have Dawnguard, which is fighting vampires. Like this is like a combo between the two.
But I mean, a group fighting vampires is common in everything.
I like this idea of there's something about like the leaders of this organization or like a certain sect that's different. and they're fighting against something. But I like.
Ooh, okay. Kind of playing on. I don't know the exact specifics of where you're going with the storyline in our game, but maybe they are. Maybe they use a tadpole of a mind flayer tadpole.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about this. We're all good.
Okay, so they let a mind flayer tadpole start consuming their mind, literally, so that they gain psionic abilities or at least psionic resistances to other mind flayers, and they kind of can like further along in the process, they can like literally hear the communication of mind flayers. And so like they're fighting these aberrations, but they become like them, which I mean is kind of a trope already, but not
Yeah.
for aberrations.
Well, I had another idea along those
just for,
lines as
like-
well, where it's like the leaders of this group have a secret like demon hunting group or whatever, like or devil hunting group, and they like take infernal blood into them, like a tiefling almost. Like they take infernal blood into
Yeah,
them.
see, I think we have to. I think we have to. It was my idea, but I think we have to go away from group like this because I think it's too. It's so tropey.
Like,
Everything
it's
we can
so
do with it is
tropey.
so tropey.
Like,
Like,
it's-
everything that we're saying right now.
I like the idea of a monster hunter group though, because like
I mean, we
there-
could definitely have one. I
like,
just
we
think
don't- there's not-
as for this.
there's not very much interesting.
Yeah.
You know, like with a monster hunter group.
Well,
But
there's
I
not
also
so much
don't
that
see a
hasn't been
Monster Hunter
done
group being,
because hunting group is so
Right.
good that people love to do it and make interesting things about it.
Yeah, and it works so well in a
It
D&D
really
setting
does.
because you can just, you know, you got to go fight some monsters and get money and treasure, you know.
Yeah, and there's a perfect group
So
to facilitate.
I'm starting to lean away from the monster hunter.
Oh yeah,
because
100%. I think we should.
I also don't see monster hunters being like super necessarily neutral either. Whoever pays them the most money, is that neutral?
Well, I don't see them as mercenaries because I think they have like a strict thing, like we fight monsters, we don't fight people.
We fight monsters. That's their slogan.
We
Yeah,
fight
I mean,
monsters.
Yeah,
Dun,
I say
dun,
we
dun,
move
dun,
away
dun, dun.
from. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I say we move away from Monster Hunter, and I think we should visit this again in a
Yes,
different episode.
definitely.
Like you should do a research on like a Monster Hunter guild.
Yeah.
and then we make a new one, a different one with some little tropes. We might have to think.
Yeah,
about
I
it a
think
little
we
bit,
do. I
though,
think this is hard to.
out of episode because it's a real hard one because it's just so hard not to be like, well, it's just the typical companions or typical Slayer's take from Critical Role or typical like, and not that those are bad. Again, not that those are bad. Those are great. Also, it's just I want something a little bit different.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that.
Okay, so new group then. Scratch it. New group starting over. So we have our options again are something about upholding a law, like the laws of the land, like heralds do, I guess. We have probably even like a religious group as well that like upholds the laws of the gods or whatever, or the ideals of the gods. You could probably do like a wizard academy that's operates all over, that gets and trains wizards and has like an apprentice program thing where like apprentices come and learn from their masters, stuff like that. They learn like an arcane ability.
Could we do?
Those are the three that are immediately off the top of my head.
I'm thinking like ghost hunters.
We could go really weird and do like an alchemy. We could do really weird and do an alchemy guild where like they follow the strict laws of alchemy and its process.
I'm thinking.
What was
ghost hunters.
Ghostbusters.
And so I'm thinking like I'm extending ghost hunting to also like kind of how we see it in our world, where like we've extended it to be like also heavily into the demonic as well, but not like fighting demons, more like preventing demons from getting here. So they are dealing with cults that are creating summoning circles and things like that, and dealing with any place of demonic power. So like they're going and they're literally casting like I forget what the spell is, but it makes an area holy. Hallow, yeah, like they're literally using the hallow spell to to cleanse areas of ghostly and demonic presences.
To me, this would be like a religious organization.
But see, the thing, I kind of don't want it to be. I want it to be like there was shows like Warehouse 13 and Fringe where they're dealing with these things that are kind of like, at least they would be seen, but there's like a scientific explanation behind them, or not always scientific. It's
Okay.
science fiction, but
So my question to this would, how would we run that in a D&D group? Like, how would you,
I think the party would come
like,
across
if
members
they like,
of this group current while they're doing some job or gig.
what did so they would they like walk around and search for ghosts? Would they walk around and search for demons, portals?
Yeah, I think
I
they
mean,
they research it, and so I think they know where, like, it won't be like they're just walking around like, where is it? Oh, is it over here? It's like they know where to go. They have, whether it's like senses for it or whatever, or maybe it's even like, okay, I'm thinking they are led by like a warlock with a fiend patron, and the fiend patron wants to take out all of the competition. So he created this. They told their warlock to create this group.
and to like remove
Yeah,
other fiends and
exactly.
aberrations and things like that. So a little bit of okay, we can work with this. I think we can work with this.
And so they,
I worry that it's just gonna be like Monster Hunter, but ghosts and demons instead of monsters.
yeah, but I think that's
know?
enough of a change that'll make it more interesting.
Okay, and then okay? I think, now hear me out here. If we're going with this ability, or if this ability, if we're going with this group, then obviously there needs to be some sort of ectoplasm that they shoot into their body that they can go into the ethereal plane. Obviously, like we have to. That's an ability
Yes,
that
I
players
definitely
can get.
think
That's
going
gotta
into
be
the
a thing.
ethereal plane is a thing. And I would just have it be.
Like once a day, they can go into the ethereal plane for 60 seconds.
I would
or
just
whatever,
give
an
them
hour or
potions of
whatever.
etherealness.
It's got to be something.
And I would make it
Yeah, but
literally
wouldn't it be
this
cool if, like-
ectoplasm. They would have to slather all over themselves.
Oh yeah, that was creepy. That was so creepy.
You were a little too excited about that.
Okay. I really was. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Okay, let's work with this. Let's try and work with this. So, we have a group of people who I don't want to stick with just ghosts, obviously. It's got to be bigger than that because ghosts are not
yeah, I
a
was
huge
thinking it was-
ordeal unless we wanted to make.
Yeah, make more ghosts.
Well, here's an idea. What if we made a like more ghosts
Go
like
full
if I was thinking like
Phasmophobia?
Avatar when that spirit comes and like yeah, or like an Avatar when that spirit comes and destroys the town. Like there's certain parts of the day or whatever that it can come and like destroy real life, and so these ghost hunters come and like fight it, try and get rid of it. Like there's a bunch of different types of ghosts.
Sorry, this was in
like
what
maybe
show?
even different animals and
You
Avatar.
said that,
Don't you
but I
remember?
don't remember that. Is this Legend of Korra or
It's like the spirit panda, the weird evil spirit panda thing.
is this Legend of Korra or is this
He would,
regular
like,
Avatar? Because I've
Nope,
not watched
nope,
Legend of Korra.
Regular Avatar.
I don't remember this.
No, regular Avatar. I don't remember. Yeah, it was like a weird beast ghost that destroyed stuff.
I'm not remembering this. Sorry.
And that's when I think, yeah, and this is when Aang first, I think one of the first times he met the ghost of the other avatars.
Okay. Yeah, I don't.
It was like a mad beast or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not
Anyways,
remembering.
But I think that'd be really fun.
But yeah,
We take a monster hunter guild and we make it ghosts, ethereal. Like they're fighting, like maybe every creature since, what if we did like since the gods were like destroyed and defeated, like everything gets like a soul or something, and when monsters and animals die, since there's not gods for their souls, they end up haunting and going after the because so many gods died, they end up going after and staying in the world.
I was thinking about the
certain
other way
creatures don't
around.
have,
I was
like-
thinking before the gods had been removed from this world, there was no like heaven quotation marks. I don't know what our afterlife would look like, but it was none of that before the gods were taken away from the world. So any creature that was killed prior to that, when the gods started dying, became an issue.
Okay.
So you're fighting
Interesting. Well, I was
ancient
also thinking
monsters
that-
from before the god's death.
Yeah, well, I was also thinking similar to this line was like there was a place for them all to go, and when they died, they like
Yeah,
all
yeah.
escaped.
Yeah, like whoever the god that
And
kind
so
of
now
held
there's
it or ruled it
yeah,
died, and it just shattered.
yep, shattered, and now all of these spirits roam the land, and now there's this group
And maybe
dedicated to
this
hunting
group
and
even
fighting these and
has
finding these
maybe this
spirits.
group even has like statues or like religious symbols of this dead god. Like they don't do anything. They don't pray to them because they know they're dead. They know it's not going to do anything. But they still appreciate and have reverence for this god.
No, yeah, I think that's super cool. I also, I think it might be cool to give them some sort of like, now hear me out here, like some sort of weird ghost controlling, like spirit controlling ability. So they have like you walk into their headquarters and there's like, they have like, I don't want to say like spirit dogs, but like things that sniff out and find, or maybe even real animals that like sniff and find out where spirits are. They can like chase them around and like, oh, I think that'd be really fun. That'd be super interesting.
I think it's so I think I don't know what it is exactly. Maybe it is like what you were saying, like ectoplasm things. Um, I don't know. Is ectoplasm copyrighted? I don't know if it's from a specific property or if it's just
It's in Terraria, so it can't
okay.
be, right? Terraria used it.
Yeah, then it must be for
Ectoplasm.
multiple things. But yeah, so the like whatever the ectoplasm or whatever we want it to be, like they everything that they use gets exposure to this, and over time they kind of develop these abilities. So eventually, like the high level ranking members that have been exposed to this for a very long time have like true sight or devil sight because they've been exposed to this for so long. And so as you're saying, like their animals get exposed to this as well, and they slowly begin to be able to
Yeah,
track and
like
sense the
yeah, and they literally lead like hunting parties out into different locations to try and find these spirits that have gone like have essentially are now like haunting the world because I mean it's pretty Ghostbusteries, but
but I mean it's
that's kind
not
of what
bad.
Ghostbusters does. But
But I mean
no, I
Ghostbusters,
mean it's pretty
yeah.
cool though because like you would have even like I even like the idea of, and this might be a little bit from your world if I remember correctly, like people walking around with like not lanterns but like a, a sensor. I don't know, like something. I like the idea of a lantern though, like a
Yeah, they
green
did have
lantern that
sensors.
hangs on like a staff. I like the idea of like they're carrying like a staff with a lantern that hangs down on a chain, and like it when it lights up against something, it can you can like see the end of the ethereal plane or whatever. So they walk with these around looking for things in the ethereal plane when they're close to the creatures they've like sensed.
Okay. So I okay. I think the ethereal plane in our world is a copy of the world from before the gods died. So if you can see into the ethereal plane, you see how the world looked before the gods died.
Interesting.
And so
Interesting.
there is an
Okay,
item.
I like that a
There's an
lot.
item. It's actually it's for a mission in Dishonored 2, I believe. Where the mechanic of it is literally you're switching between worlds because you're in a time when this mansion is now just completely destroyed, and so certain passageways are blocked off. But if you go to the when the mansion was alive, there are guards everywhere, and so you have this little like multi-dimensional like time lock glass piece, so you can see what's in the other timeline, what's in the other like the in the past. And so I think they have like one of these shards, and the
Interesting.
shard is from like some sort of great glass piece that this god had.
Or what if it's like fragments from that veil that we have around where the gods died? Like fragments of it broke off, and that like shows like when the gods died, they created like this whole veil thing
Mm-hmm.
happened, and like there's little shards of it, and you can like when you're walking through that veil, you literally see the spirits from that time that were there, and that's why it's hard to get through because they like fight you and try and kill you as you walk through it. So when you walk through it, you can like actively see into this realm. So you're like literally walking through the past of this area. So maybe there's like something like that or anything. Yeah, I mean anything like that, I think it'd be really cool. Like they walk around with something that can like make them see into the ethereal plane slash this alternate, you know, or even I even like the idea of like instead of it being like how it was before the gods died. It's just a continuation of where it like left off. So it's just now like what I think would be really fun is like an endless wilderness now because like there's been no humans, no nothing, no anything to like keep it intact. And so all nature and everything has just taken over. And so now there's just spirits that roam around through these different areas, through ancient, destroyed ruins, all sorts of different stuff. I think that'd be really fun too.
Mm-hmm.
Like instead of it being what it used to be, it's like just a continuation of that timeline, like just a separate timeline. Like what would happen if, the gods didn't win or whatever, and now it's just an empty area where everything is just dead. And then okay, so besides getting into these details, why are they hunting these spirits then?
Well, I think they were causing problems. So the heralds. They realized there was an issue. Is these things were actually causing problems and hurting people and attacking people. And so they're like, we got to figure out what's going on. And then they realize now that we figured out what's going on, we got to create a group that can solve it.
Yeah, okay, I like that. Like, and I'm assuming then we'd make ghosts, and this is also kind of Ghostbustery, but ghosts of like different types.
Yeah.
Like some ghosts murder, kill people. Some ghosts, destroy crops. Some ghosts, like possess people. Some ghosts do all sorts.
I mean, we
things.
already literally in a
so these
previous
guys, like,
episode we created a ghost.
we did, right? And that's kind of what I was
And
thinking
so
about
that's
when I
like
was talking about that.
that's like perfect. That's what that could be their first experience, and then once they take care of it,
It could.
then the ghost people show up and they're like, "Oh, you already took care of it."
You already got rid of it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's interesting. It's super different. I don't think I've ever had a D&D ghost hunter, like a spirit world. I think I like spirit world
Yeah.
better than like ghosts.
Yeah, spirit
Like a
world.
spirit.
Yeah,
Spirit seekers or something like that, or like seekers, or I don't know, like where they are. So do you think then that these spirits can like impact and manifest in their own spirit world as well as every once in a while break into the material plane then?
no, I mean, I think I think they were kicked out of their spirit world. Like that was the thing, is that the spirit world was kind of shattered, and so okay, the spirit world was shattered in such a way that now it is like half there. So it's like they can't fully leave it, but they can't fully go there.
Okay. Interesting.
And so that's
So they're just like wandering around.
yeah, and so that's part of why
without-
they're violent, is that they're not fully corporealized or uncorporealized, and so they're in this horrible state of maybe even pain.
I think okay. I like this idea, but I also like the idea of like an entire like I don't know, there's something about it that makes me want to like have an entire like ghost city as well. Like they can like go into the spirit world and literally go into these like an entire ghost city with like for not friendly ghosts, I guess friendly ghosts, but just like normal individuals. And then every once in a while you have like an opposite, like one who goes haywire or whatever and like, starts wreaking havoc in the material plane. Boy, that would be a weird campaign.
Yeah,
though.
I'm trying to think of how to do that.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
you run into the risk of it being super silly.
Okay, no, I think I don't know how it happens. I'll let you think of how it happens, but I think there are cracks between the two, and exposure to the cracks are what one creates these humans that can see into the ethereal plane, but also it is what causes the spirits to go haywire. And
Okay, well,
so
my
these
first thought.
slices happen all over. Like they that's part of
Okay,
what the
so-
guild is doing, is they're closing these tears in reality. Before one, it makes ghosts go mad, and two, it makes people go mad.
So what I was thinking, which is very similar to this, was like the ethereal plane / spirit world or whatever is only certain fragments and sections, and if an entity wanders out of those fragments because they're completely open right now, like there's you can just walk in and out between them if you're a ethereal being, and if the ethereal being walks out, it either becomes angry because it's no longer in it's in like a state of pain now and torture instead of in like its bliss in the ethereal plane or whatever in its spirit realm. And this is what causes these spirits to go haywire. And these fragments are all over the world, so there's all sorts of different areas. And so if you were to look into the ethereal plane where there isn't one of these spirit realms, you wouldn't be able to see anything. But if you looked into the ethereal plane where there is one, then you could see into that area. And what I was thinking is when that like castle, when the god like land came down, the spirit world like encompasses all around our current world, and when it smashed through into the real world, it destroyed the spirit realm and shattered it into millions of pieces. And now only fragments of it now exist, like throwing a rock through a window type thing, breaking it into a million pieces. So there's only certain sections and pieces that are around.
Okay, but
and
so okay, there are certain sections and pieces that are around. Are there these tears still? Like, what is?
Yeah, so what I was thinking is like it would be like you were to pour water on the ground and you have like individual like things of water all around the ground. Like you can still trace into them and out of them. And there's nothing stopping you from doing so because it's just a flat surface. So you can just go in and out of the water. And what the group is trying to do is seal those, like essentially gather the water into a jar so that they can't escape.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Makes sense. I got it.
Yeah. So either A, they're trying to like, there's a couple things that I thought of. Either A, they're literally trying to like push the different spirit realms into one giant one and contain it, or they're trying to separately contain each individual area. And they don't know where all the areas are or and things like that. So it's a big mess, but that's kind of what's going on.
Okay. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to isolate each one, and then maybe partway through, like one of the people of the world's like, hey, like one of the ghosts is maybe somehow communicates with them and is like, we don't want you to cut us off from the other people. Like, there's a better way to do this.
Yeah, so they try and combine them.
Yeah, exactly. And so partway through, they go to the idea of let's combine them instead.
Yeah, no, I like that idea as well. Yeah, they like individually try and shut them off, and then eventually try and bring them all back together into one. Like, it's interesting. That's so weird. It's so different. Holy cow! How would you run that in a campaign? How would you like? Could you make that a center focus or not?
I think you could, but I mean, I would wait till later to bring it up. I would have them encounter these weird spiritual events, like that kind of farmer and the ghost there, and then things like that, and they just keep experiencing these weird, almost as even they would probably put it, ghostly encounters, and then they realize, oh wait, this all is connected.
Wait,
and so maybe.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
What if these areas had already been contained and somebody's breaking them open?
Yeah, that would work.
And so now you have these different spirit world entities affecting normal life, and people are trying to figure out why or how it happened.
I think it's definitely not well known. I think the only people who would know, hey, we sealed this off, was that people. Like, why is this not sealed? And I think
that could be an interesting take on an end world scenario where like they're trying to stop a group or an individual from collapsing, like essentially like breaking the glass of water and having it spill across the land.
He wants to merge them fully.
Yeah, like
they want to merge like the spirit world with ours fully, which would devastate us because our like the humanity and like the humanoids that are already living there, our bodies are not equipped to handle that. The ghosts would be fine, but it would be devastating to us and our infrastructure.
Yeah, and maybe they have like a view of like the old society was better, so we need to bring it back, and the only way to bring it back is to unleash the spirit world,
100%.
Like, to have them show us their ways.
Now, I will say
like,
that
is super interesting.
I will say that this is pretty on the nose for the new Dragon Age game and that story that's going to be there.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because the whole.
I had no idea.
Well, yeah, I know you don't. I know you have no idea. You haven't played any of those games yet. But so the old elves were from a time when it's called the Fade. It's the magic of the world was fully a part of the world. And this deity one of the things they did was they cut that because they thought the elves were doing these bad things, and the elves were, but they were like, this needs to happen. We need to do this. And then in the current game, they're having regrets about what they did because it was so devastating to the elven societies, because so much of their infrastructure was built on this fade, this magic world being a part of the real world. And when he built the wall between the two, it devastated it. And so the whole point is that now he is fixing it and trying to destroy the wall that he built. And so that's going to destroy everybody else. So they're like, we got to fight against this.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's super similar. But it's a cool concept.
It's such a
so
great concept.
interesting. It's not the typical, like, demons are coming through a portal and killing you. It's not a typical, I'm trying to summon a god. It's not the typical, like, it's different. Like, somebody's trying to bring back the old world, and the best way to do so is to, like, merge the spirit world with current humanity to, like, bring about the change of the older times. Like, that's crazy weird.
Yeah, I like this. I like this a lot.
I like that a lot. Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah.
Well, I think this is a place to end this episode. Thank you all for...
Nice. Sweet. You made it.
Thank you all for listening to episode 45 of Dungeoneered.
Wham bam.
Yeah. If you listen to our podcast on any podcasting apps that have ratings and reviews, please write a review. It really helps the show. Helps show that there are people connecting with it, and not just by listening to it, but in other ways. And I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you enjoyed our other episodes. And always,
we got to make a Monster Hunter Guild sometime soon. Next episode,
I can look into it. I can look into some sort of Monster Hunting Guild and see. Maybe I just look into literally the Monster Hunter games and see what their lore is.
I love those games. I love them so much.
Well, then maybe we have you do the research on that. Is that a no? Okay, it's a hard no. Okay.
Abnormally I'd do it, but I'm so busy next week.
But
I'm literally moving houses.
That's
next
true.
Week.
You're getting out of there. Wednesday.
Finally, yeah. Anyways,
yeah. Well,
something about a barrel.
Yeah, something about a barrel. Well, always remember to be the sharpest barrel in the bunch. See you next time.
Bye.